I just watched every Batman movie for the very first time. Well, kind of. I've seen the Dark Knight trilogy and I've seen The Batman, but everything that's come before those movies is new for me. It was definitely a rough ride, but I figured it'd be fun to go through and rank every Batman movie from someone that just saw them for the first time. But before we jump into that, welcome to Bite Size Bunny. My name's Tony, and if there's a film franchise you'd like me to check out, let me know. I would love to try and make that happen. Without much further ado, let's rank all of the live-action Batman movies. In last place, I've got Batman and Robin. This movie is the cure to insomnia. I can't remember the last time I've struggled this hard with actually getting through a movie. This movie feels like it exists for the sole purpose of selling toys. I can't imagine there being any other reason this film exists, because the script feels like it was written in maybe a day or two tops. The performances are pretty rough across the board. Everyone feels so out of place here. It feels like they're all trying to do the best they can with the direction they're being given, but they're kind of stuck having to go with the flow, which makes the whole experience feel like the worst high school stage play ever made. It truly is one of the worst comic book movies ever made, and easily goes to last place. Following that up, we've got Batman Forever. It's a real shame this movie sucks as much as it does, because I do feel like Val Kilmer's Batman genuinely had some potential. He's really not bad in the role, it's just the script and the dialogue is truly abysmal. This feels like it was made for the Nickelodeon channel in all of the worst ways. The story is corny, the villains are goofy and impossible to take seriously. It's just an all-around forgettable experience that I'm happy I'll never have to think about again after this video. Batman 66 is a movie that's simply not for me, but while I don't love it, I also wouldn't say it's a terrible film. I really do love Adam West as Batman. I think he perfectly fits the tone of this movie, and he is the standout character and performance. This is a very unserious version of this cast of Batman characters, and you can tell it's made for the entire family to enjoy. There are some one-liners and moments that did make me giggle, but most of the humor and takes on these characters just didn't work for me. I still respect it though. I was a little underwhelmed by this sequel. While Batman 89 felt like a Batman movie directed by Tim Burton, I feel like Batman Returns feels like a Tim Burton movie that happens to have Batman characters in it, which I didn't necessarily love. This isn't a bad movie, it's just nowhere near as strong as its predecessor. Danny DeVito chews the scenery as the Penguin. Anytime he's on screen, he is the standout performance of the movie. I also really loved Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman. While I don't love this particular take on the character, I do think Michelle Pfeiffer does an excellent job in the role. And the Batman and Catwoman relationship dynamic was easily the highlight of this movie for me. I think there's a lot of really fun chemistry between Bruce and Selina that's really charming to watch. I pushed this one off for the longest time, mainly because I'm not the biggest fan of Tim Burton's work. The stuff of his I have seen has been totally fine. I absolutely get why he has a fan base, he's just not my cup of tea. I have to say though, I was pleasantly surprised by Batman 89. The highlight of this movie for me is Michael Keaton's performance. He is great in this role, even if he has a hard time maintaining Batman's one rule. I also really enjoyed the relationship dynamic between Bruce Wayne and Vicky Vale. I thought it was very endearing and fun to watch unfold. You also can't talk about this movie without mentioning Jack Nicholson's Joker, who brings so much energy to this film. I really could have done without the parade sequence at the very end. It feels like it's only there to show off the new Batwing, which, don't get me wrong, the Batwing design is really friggin' cool. But yeah, overall, this was a pleasant surprise for me. It's not great, but it is very enjoyable. Yes, The Dark Knight Rises isn't perfect. It's got some very obvious issues here and there, but despite its flaws, I still think it's an excellent finale to one of the best comic book trilogies of all time. I love Tom Hardy as Bane. Every time he's on screen, he's got this really intense and sometimes terrifying energy that he brings to the film. He's unpredictable while also being very cold and calculated, leaving you feeling like Batman has truly met his match this time. Not to mention, the last 10 minutes is a cinematic masterpiece. I go back to watch the ending of this movie all of the time. Batman Begins is quite possibly the best comic book origin story ever made, and I would honestly understand if someone told me this was their favorite origin story in general. Of all the films in the Dark Knight trilogy, this is the one I have gone back and rewatched the most. I love everything with Bruce Wayne leading up to him becoming Batman, and I think Christian Bale is a perfect Bruce Wayne. Then you've got the villains who are wonderfully handled, and a soundtrack that is absolutely exquisite. There's not much I could say about The Dark Knight that hasn't been said already, but damn is this movie a cinematic masterpiece. Not only is it a great Batman film, but it's an exceptional crime thriller as well. Even if you don't like superheroes or Batman, this movie is still worth watching just because of how incredible the writing is. You also can't talk about The Dark Knight without mentioning Heath Ledger's Joker, who absolutely steals the show anytime he's on screen. He is truly menacing in this film. I will never forget how on edge and terrified I was of this character seeing it in theaters for the very first time as a kid. It is truly a masterfully crafted performance. And at number 1, I've got The Batman. This is everything I love about the Batman character, perfectly wrapped up and encapsulated in one film. I saw this film 4 times in the theater and loved it more and more with each viewing. Robert Pattinson, I think, is easily the best Batman put to screen, and I can't wait to see how he develops as Bruce Wayne over the years. Then you've got the entire supporting cast that is on their A game. Everyone here is giving it their all, and their performances are incredible. Back it all up with that wonderful crime noir feel, that gorgeous cinematography, that excellent soundtrack, and Matt Reeves' brilliant direction, and you've got what I think is the best comic book movie ever made. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTube stuff. And I'd love to know, how would you personally rank all of the live-action Batman films?